90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair here with the Tuesday morning buzz of the fall 2021. As always, I am your host, Kyle Pepitone, joined with, as always, our co-host, Jacob Goetz, our sportscaster, Campbell Donovan, and our newscaster today is somebody from the Thursday buzz. We're getting a special guest today. Madi Zuniga. How are you today, everybody?
I'm doing fantastic, Kyle.
Awesome. Good to hear. Campbell.
What a way to open before having Taylor Swift on.
Yes, it was great. Honestly, there's no better way to start your morning than with a nice daily dose of, it's like instead of a cup of tea, you could just listen to a Taylor Swift song.
Funny you should say that. I actually skipped my morning cup of tea this morning.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. And now you don't need it.
Yep. And Madi, we didn't get an answer from you. How are you?
I am okay.
Awesome.
Nice.
Good to hear. We got a show for you today. As always, we got stories regarding the January 6th riot at the Capitol, updates on the New Jersey gubernatorial, and a story regarding Montclair about yesterday. But before we do that, like I said before, we have Madi here with the newscast. Madi, what is going on in the world?
In state news, students at Rowan University rallied on Monday to speak out about a recent death of a student that died by suicide. The student died from a fall on a campus parking garage. The student was the fourth to die from suicide since 2017. The rally flyer said a call to action amidst the mental health crisis. Student Jose Cardona organized the event to bring attention to mental health, the mental health crisis, and is finding more ways to help his fellow students. In national news, 4 astronauts returned to Earth Monday night, ending a 200-day space mission that started last spring. The SpaceX capsule parachuted into the Gulf of Mexico on the coast of Pensacola, Florida. The astronauts were expected back Monday morning, but due to the high winds in their recovery zone, they had to delay the return to Monday night. The next crew will be up there for 6 months, welcoming back-to-back tourist groups. In international news, Poland is accusing Belarus of pushing migrants toward their borders. The Polish government called for a meeting Monday, calling the situation a crisis. They deployed 12,000 troops to the area after they described it as a hostile activity. The NATO alliance said it was worried about the escalation on the border with Poland and is ready to maintain safety and security in the region. In local news, on Sunday afternoon, 2 passengers were killed and 1 passenger is critically injured after a 15-year-old slammed head onto another vehicle in a stolen SUV. Jody Mcu, 61, and the teen driver were pronounced dead at the scene. The 14-year-old passenger of the stolen SUV is in critical condition. The vehicle was reported stolen at 12:40 p.m. and authorities received a call of the incident at 1:09 p.m. The SUV was headed east on Princeton and Kingston Road when the 15-year-old driver crossed over the yellow line and struck the vehicle driven by Mcu. Weather. Today's weather is clear with a high of 69 and a low of 46, with a humidity level of 88 and the air quality is fair with a level of 30.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Madi. And as always, right after the newscast, we have our sportscast with the one, the only Campbell Donovan. Campbell, what is going on in the world of sports again?
Well, thank you, Kyle. Now time for your 7 a.m. sportscast. Monday Night Football, a wild one last night. The Pittsburgh Steelers hold on to defeat the Chicago Bears after Bears kicker Cairo Santos missed a potential 60-yard game-winning field goal. In hockey, the Rangers defeated the Florida Panthers last night 4-3, and the Panthers will take on the Devils tonight at the Prudential Center. NBA, the Knicks defeat the 76ers, and the Nets lose by 23 to the Chicago Bulls. The NCAA Division III men's soccer tournament comes to MSU Soccer Park this weekend, as it will be a host site for the first and second rounds of the tournament. To add to that, the men's soccer team will be dancing as they will be taking on Gordon College this Saturday in the first round. And on this day in 1965, Willie Mays was named the National League Most Valuable Player. That's all for your sportscast today here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, the voice of Montclair State University. I'm Campbell Donovan. Back to you, Kyle.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And without further ado, we will go into our top story here. According to AP News, the January 6th panel subpoenas 6 more Trump associates in probe. The U.S. House Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol insurrection has issued subpoenas for 6 more associates of former President Donald Trump, who were closely involved in his efforts to overturn his defeat in the 2020 election. The committee's chairman, Mississippi Representative Bernie Thompson, said in a statement Monday that the panel is demanding testimony and documents from former Trump campaign officials and others who participated in a, quote, war room ahead of the siege and strategized about how to halt the certification of Joe Biden's victory. Thompson said the committee has issued new subpoenas to these following associates: Bill Stephen, the manager of Trump's 2020 re-election campaign; Jason Miller, a senior advisor to the campaign; Angela McCallum, national executive assistant to the campaign; John Eastman, a lawyer who advised President Trump; Michael Flynn, a former national security advisor to Trump who talked with Trump ahead of the insurrection; and lastly, Bernard Carrick, who the committee says paid for the hotel rooms that served as a command center ahead of January 6th. Bernie Thompson also added in his statement, quote, "In the days before the January 6th attack, the former president's closest allies and advisors drove a campaign of misinformation about the election and planned ways to stop the count of the Electoral College votes. The select committees needs to know every detail about their efforts to overturn the election, including who they were talking to in the White House and in Congress, what connections they had with the rallies that escalated into a riot, and who paid for it all," end quote. The subpoenas come after the panel has already demanded documents and testimonies from several of other Trump advisors, yet cooperation from the group and advisors has been lackluster, with only some cooperating with the panel. Well, that's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
I mean, so I just want to clarify. Do you all know what a subpoena is? Because I did not know till like just this morning.
I sort of know. I asked my mother that question a lot sometimes because she is in news. But sometimes I forget what the true meaning of a subpoena is.
So essentially, it's calling to court. So like calling to appear to court. So the person in charge, Bernie Thompson, has called 6 more people to almost testify in court against, or like to provide evidence for this, because as we know, since it is November now, this has been going on for quite a few months.
Yep. Coming up on a year.
Yeah, exactly. Every so often on the buzz, you'll hear that we have more news regarding this. We've been covering it from the start, and now we have more information, and more people are now, for lack of a better word, on the stand. And which there are some things from here I find weird, especially the last person, Bernie Carrick, who paid for the hotel rooms as a command center. Just the way that's worded makes me think it's very weird. Like all these people are gathered around like a continental breakfast.
It is kind of odd to think, but yeah, I guess you gotta plan your insurrection somewhere, you know? Like,
yeah, I guess.
You know,
not the best way to say it, but sure. But with that being said, moving on, Jake, what's the news about the gubernatorial? My new favorite word.
Oh boy, yeah, the goober. I'm a goofy goober. Yeah. Okay. Well, want to know who's not a goofy goober? Jack Ciattarelli. So, okay.
Does that mean Phil Murphy is?
I guess he is, because doesn't goober mean governor?
Well, yes.
So like he's a goofy goober. I don't know if I'd call Phil Murphy.
Yeah, I wouldn't call Phil Murphy a goofy governor. Let's abandon this and just stick with gubernatorial.
We're ditching the bit. It was a good attempt. We'll keep trying. Okay. The New Jersey Republican candidate, Jack Ciattarelli campaign denied Monday that there was fraud in this year's governor's election. But there's always a but. His campaign attorney said that the margin could shrink enough to warrant a recount. Ciattarelli's legal counsel, Mark Sheridan, had this to say on a possibility of fraud. Let me be clear. No one on this team is alleging fraud or malfeasance, as we have not seen any credible evidence of that. But Sheridan added that this year's new election law, end quote. But Sheridan added that this year's new election law, which in part allowed for early in-person voting for the first time, is also contributing to what he called excruciatingly slow vote counting. The campaign estimates that there are about 70,000 provisional ballots, which only count after officials determine that the voter has not already cast another ballot. Sheridan also added that, quote, at this time, we do not expect the provisional vote to count to end with Jack Tortorelli in the lead. However, the count may reduce the margin for Governor Murphy to enough to warrant a full recount. Each of New Jersey's 21 counties are conducting their own count of any mail-in and provisional ballots left to be counted, and the State Board of Canvassers doesn't meet until December 2nd to certify the results.
Interesting.
So that's, I don't know, that's reasonable. That's fine.
Yeah. See, because that's what I found very interesting, because I think because we saw it in the 2020 presidential election, and
Oh,
we
yeah.
read it before, account like claiming accounts of fraud and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think we saw some of it, at least from the general public, with this too, for the gubernatorial.
Yeah.
I mean, Jake, you were out there covering the election, right?
I guess you could say that. I was a contributor on the election coverage.
But like you saw, I don't know if you saw, but like there were like people claiming fraud even before like
I
counting
was hearing
done.
about that. Yeah. But I don't know. I think to some degree you're always going to get people saying that.
Yeah.
Especially like, I don't know, on the right side of the spectrum. That's just kind of something that
I think
people like to
both-
throw out there.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put it to just one side. I'm sure if the other, like the left side candidate was losing, they'd probably claim something.
Yeah,
too.
no, it definitely
It's-
happens.
It's
but
a game. It's like on the playground. No, if they don't get their way, somebody's going to call.
yeah,
call
no,
cheating.
it's there's always some element of that.
But to see it come from like the campaign managers themselves, like
yeah, that's always where
Chiarelli's
things get really
campaigns
crazy.
literally saying like, no, we don't think there's fraud at all. That
Yeah.
that's something different, because
Mhm.
that's the people, who have a bit more knowledge than the general public about what goes on behind the scenes, and them saying, no, we think everything's fair and square, is an interesting take, especially coming from what is right now the losing side.
Yeah, because I think a big thing with Chiarelli is he's definitely trying to be, more moderate, not have some of the, crazy, for lack of a better word, craziness of like a Trump type figure.
Yeah, or like
And,
anything
like-
from, he's trying not to be too far on either side. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's Republican, so he would be classified as far right. But I think he's, like you said, he's trying to be a bit more moderate. He's not trying to
Mhm.
be like the whole everything
Yeah.
I do falls under this one way of thinking. He seems to be going under like a people person kind of thing, like a person for the people rather than just I'm a Democrat / Republican.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say that. Yeah, to a degree.
But before anything else, we're going to take a quick break. And before we do, and after we do that, we're going to come back with more stories here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. So stay tuned for that. And welcome back to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair and the Tuesday edition of the Morning Buzz. I'm going to be honest, I was not expecting that from the feature.
Yeah, no,
Today.
me neither. I didn't know.
That got intense.
I love the turkeys, like how intense they sound.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
I didn't know we were in the business of vegan propaganda here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay. Anyway, welcome back to the show here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. I am your host, as always, Todd Pepitone, co-host Jacob Goetz, newscaster Madi Zuniga, and our sportscaster Campbell Donovan. I apologize, Madi. I'll get
Honestly,
it right.
Kyle, you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Like at least you for some reason you're struggling with my first name,
Yeah, I don't
but
know why.
you're getting there.
I think because you're just new, you're not a usual part of the crew, so I have to adjust that you're here and not somebody else.
Yeah.
I just put a sign up here.
Also, you're sitting where Campbell usually sits, so I'm a little
True.
confused.
Yeah,
Well,
no. we're,
lately
like,
I've been on Zoom, so
backwards.
I've been in the hallway.
But like I promised before, we are back with more stories. And this one from NJ.com, a New Jersey child care employee charged with aggressive efforts to get a child to take a nap. Like I said, according to NJ.com, authorities have charged 48-year-old Claudia J. Smith-Hurd with simple assault and endangering the welfare of a child after a parent reported that her 4-year-old son was injured on his first day at the facility. Smith-Hurd allegedly pushed the child's body numerous times on a cot in an aggressive manner while trying to get him to go to sleep. The child sustained numerous visible signs of injury to his face and neck, minor scrapes, and redness, consistent with someone pressing down on him. According to the police surveillance video and an eyewitness account, they support the allegations as well. The Cumberland County Prosecutor's Office also interviewed the child, who confirmed what happened in the surveillance footage. Smitherd declined to comment when contacted Monday afternoon. The mother of the alleged victim learned something was wrong when she received a call from Smitherd asking her to sign an incident report because her son, after refusing to take a nap, began acting up, threw himself around, and kicked her. The mother apologized and said she would pick up the child immediately. However, when she arrived, the child's face told a different story, as she said she, quote, looked, as he said, he, quote, looked scared. When she brought her son to the car, he told her that the staff member, quote, was hitting me in the face because I didn't want to take a nap. She kept hitting me in my face and she was pinching my lips, end quote. She walked back to the facility and demanded an explanation. Smitherd denied assaulting the child. Naturally, the police and EMTs showed up to the scene. Officials from the child care company posted a message on their website confirming that they completed the investigation and that the incident had been dealt with and the terminated individual involved. The message also went on to say, quote, the conduct exhibited by the individual is an isolated situation and is not in line with what we believe and value. We want to assure you it is Golden Gate's mission and responsibility to ensure the safety of all of our precious children, end quote. Golden Gate, of course, being the facility where this happened. But, oh, no.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, no.
Please.
Big no's all around. I mean, it's not, no, like, usually I've never applied for like a child care or teaching job, but they do
It
background
must be
checks, right?
stressful. It must be.
I could
But
I can
hope
never
so.
watch kids.
That's fair.
I mean,
and you would never
volunteer.
go into a job where that's expected of you, correct?
And I coach like younger kids and whatnot. I mean, kids like they fool around and stuff, but
do,
like,
yeah.
I mean, I've never seen anyone be like aggressive towards a young child and teaching them the basics
And
of
not
sport.
even just aggressive, like physically
Yeah.
aggressive too.
Yeah.
It's not like she was yelling at him. She was
like,
physically
yeah.
assaulting him.
But it's like, if the kid doesn't want to take a nap, then maybe like take him outside for some fresh air or something. Talk to him. Don't forcefully try to get him to like take a nap if he's not tired or whatnot.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
insane.
And it's not like this is a normal thing for kids to do, to refuse a nap. As college students, we wouldn't do that, obviously, but little kids, they have much more energy than us.
Yeah,
They don't know what they're doing yet.
Yeah.
And what he took the words out of my mouth. Because kids at that age really don't like get a sense of
Yeah.
like
they
of
don't-
their I would say depth, I guess, or perception, I guess, because like at that age at 4, you're a whole big bundle of energy running around, being a kid, playing with friends, and but like now, like you said, us college students, we like to sleep.
Yeah.
Kids at that age,
Sleep?
they like to do whatever they want.
Yeah, exactly.
What's
So-
sleep?
Yeah, we know, Monty. You and Jake were up at till like 3 a.m. today for some reason.
For some reason.
Well, I know the reason, but obviously.
I don't. please inform me.
Jake is
You-
still wondering why.
Why was I up?
Why did I
Just
agree to that?
Everything before I took a nap is just a blur. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, like they do background checks on this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like they have to at least they have to. you know.
Yeah. So like they obviously this, I don't know. I don't want to call it like an isolated incident, but like obviously she got past the check in order to have the job, but I don't know. I don't know what would
I just feel like she could have
handled it in any other
way
better
Yeah.
way.
could have handled it way better.
Yeah.
For example, she could have just told the mother, "Hey, just let you know your child refused to take a nap, and well, they didn't take a nap today." Instead, she literally used her own hands to handle this, and it's just not acceptable.
advised. Not a good idea at all. Like 100% not a good idea. Like literally use words. That's all I have
Yeah.
to say. Like never. Like when it comes to taking a nap, hands should never be involved. Like maybe give him a stern talking to, like if you don't take a nap, you get to move your name from green to yellow. If any of you understand what I'm saying there.
I know.
Okay, thank you,
that.
Campbell. Have Maddie and Jake, have you ever had those things in like kindergarten or
I
preschool?
don't remember.
Like, is it the card you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
cards,
I
stoplight,
always
whatever
stayed
it is.
green, and one time I went yellow because I was talking too much, which is weird
Same.
because I'm known
You
for not
don't want to
talking.
go from yellow to red.
Ugh.
Oh,
I couldn't even
no.
handle going from green to yellow. I felt like my world was over.
I needed to always be green.
Green. I mean, you always have to be the good kid at that age.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, enough about that. Jake, take us to our next story.
Yes.
This one regarding Montclair State University.
Oh yes,
itself.
we go to that school. This is
Yes, we're here right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. So the school that we go to, a police chase happened here, and it ended with guns drawn and arrests made. So tensions were high Monday morning on the campus after a man was arrested at gunpoint by the Montclair State Police Department and the Passaic County Sheriff Office. The arrest took place in front of the Center for Environmental and Life Sciences. Officers drew their weapons at 20-year-old Jackson L. Toro and were heard yelling get down to the ground. According to Bill Mayer, PCSO press liaison, an officer received a low jack signal at 10:21 a.m. notifying him that a white Toyota Avalon was stolen and located on the campus of Montclair State. An officer began to approach the car. Toro refused to listen to the officer's order, and he made an illegal U-turn in an attempt to leave the scene. A short chase ended when Toro crashed into a light pole. Toro, who's not a student on campus, was not alone in his crime, as he was joined by 18-year-old Diasia M. Devon Gonzalez, who is a student at Montclair State. Gonzalez has been charged with one count of riding in a vehicle knowing it was taken without consent of the owner, one count of resisting arrest. She was later arrested for fleeing to campus. Oh, man.
Yeah. And thanks to our friends at the Montclarion who brought us this story, because we only got
Yes,
like
we just
yesterday. I don't know if you were looking at our Discord,
Uh-huh.
but we got a be careful, there's something going on. And that
We
was
just got,
pretty
like,
much all we
bits
had.
and pieces of what
yeah,
was
we
going
just got a
on.
picture, and it was just like, oh,
And I was looking for this throughout the day. Like I was looking for this because I knew it would appear on Montclarion eventually. Because I'm like, this needs to be talked about today. And like I said before, thanks to what is it called? Montclarion, we got this story from them. So
Did
thank you
anyone
so
see
much.
the video that they posted
I
I
did not.
did. And you
on
can,
Twitter?
if I didn't see it on Twitter, I saw it on the Montclarion article. And if you're interested, you can check out their website to see more photos and the video, of course, of this going down, because it is scary.
is it?
I mean, not the video and the pictures itself are just okay. This is documentation of what happened, but the fact that this happened on campus,
Yeah, I know.
involving a someone who's not a student here, that's the scary part.
Yeah.
Especially since I walk.
Oh yeah, I
Usually
walk
where
around
that
it
happened.
all the time.
I
Yeah,
walk that
that's-
route.
I
to
go
come
that way
here.
for like a daily walk where you need to like clear your mind by the Skyline Walkway. And to think that something like this could just happen at any time, especially like you said, someone who doesn't go here.
Right. I mean, I don't know how to.
It just we were talking about this earlier. This just reminds me of the situation happened in 2018, which was the last time
Yes.
MSU police pulled out guns on some people being aggressive.
Mhm.
And I remember it was I was a freshman and it was my first day of classes. Next thing you know, you just get an email saying this is the incident that happened on
Yeah.
campus. And I don't remember all the specifics, but I just remember it saying that MSU police did draw their guns and people were arrested.
I mean, according to our general manager, Annabella, one of the staffers witnessed the whole thing as well. So we've had one of the Montclarion staffers, and I believe we have an interview later with the person who wrote the story for the Montclarion. That being said, it's crazy because keep in mind, we are mostly a closed campus. We are far off from the actual town of Montclair.
Yeah.
We have the little, what I like to call the Bat Cave entrance by Yogi Berra Drive.
Yeah.
And then we have the main entrance to the school by Freeman.
I love how you call the
Bat
Bat
Cave.
Cave.
And I love how
It's
I
so-
knew
that's
exactly
so-
what you were talking about
That is
too.
so
It's hidden away.
It
that's
is very
so
hidden.
true because when I worked for the Jackals this past summer, it's so hidden that during that night you would just see lights
Exactly.
coming towards the parking lot over by Machuga.
Yeah, exactly. But with that being said, like there are campuses that are not like ours. Like the first one that comes to mind is like Drexel is in like an open campus with like two other universities. I forget what they are, but they're just like their campus is a big city. Them NYU, you have to walk like
Yeah, it's
down
just the city.
physical
There's no
streets.
real.
Isn't
to get to
Rutgers
different
Norca
buildings.
open campus
It
Kind of.
might
in
be.
the in that like area of the Norc?
Sorta. Rutgers is weird.
I don't know I just know Rutgers is big.
Yeah, it's just really
when it
big.
comes to campus.
I know NJIT is similar with the open
Yeah.
like, streets and everything because I remember I went there to get my COVID vaccine and I just remember being like, wow, this school is different. There's sidewalks, there's streets everywhere.
But
Yeah, I mean-
Stevens is like on a hill.
Yeah, Stevens is just nothing but hills, and that luckily we're in like a closed campus, so like we don't have to deal too much with outside people. But when things like this happen, it does get a little scary. But before that, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Monty will give us the extended weather. So stay tuned for that. It's more to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. Like always, you are listening to The Morning Buzz. I'm your host, Pepitone. Joining my co-host, Jacob Goetz. We had
Hello.
to kick our newscaster and sportscaster out because right now we have a very special interview with the person who wrote the article regarding what we were just talking about right before the
Yes.
break. Julian Rigg from the Montclarion. Julian, thank you for joining the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
No problem. So before we get into before the break, like I said, we were talking about the story that happened here yesterday with the car chase and the multiple arrests. Could you tell us more about what transpired? Like what other things happened that didn't make the article?
Well, actually, most of it that went on the article, most of that what happened went
Right.
in the article.
Mhm.
I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's super fast. I was there when the arrest happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like right place, the right time kind of
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah, that's
I was
lucky.
walking to pick up a camera, and I'd seen the cops kind of going around and
Right.
everything, and suddenly I see this car hit a pole, and cops had their guns drawn, and it was super quick though. Like the guy, as soon as he saw the gun, he was like, "All right, I'm done."
Okay, yeah,
Like,
no, this is it.
yeah,
I'm
this is
out.
nothing more, nothing more. So it was pretty straightforward. We got the police report later in the day.
Right.
Not the official report, but what the press liaison
Oh,
Right.
for Passaic County said.
yeah.
And with that being said, like
Yeah.
you said, you were there when it happened, like
Yeah.
through a knack of just timing. What was
Yeah.
that like? I assume it probably wasn't the most pleasant of experiences, especially since a
Right.
car hit a pole. But in
Right.
your words and experience, what was that like being there when it happened?
I mean, look, man, being Brazilian, like, and having family in Brazil, being such a violent country at times,
Right.
like
Mhm.
seeing a gun doesn't really surprise you that much.
Hmm.
But I had to remind myself that I wasn't a bystander.
Right.
I kind of forgot that I was like, there was one other girl there who saw it, and I didn't get her name because I was just like watching the whole thing
Yeah,
happen.
you were kind of.
I was like,
yeah.
oh, like he's got a gun pointed at him. Like, oh,
Ooh, yikes.
yeah. But like it could have gone south so quick,
Mhm.
and thankfully it didn't. And
Yeah,
we didn't
right.
have some big story on our hands. It's still a big story, but a bigger
Yeah.
Oh,
story
kind of,
in a
yeah.
negative way.
I was
you know?
saying like good thing like everything went well, or else we'd be covering a much different story. Right
Yeah,
now.
we'd
man.
have like, it would probably be beyond Montclarion's hands if
Probably.
that
Yeah.
happened, especially if it was campus police that,
Mhm.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it was campus police that had their guns drawn. I don't
Wow.
recall seeing Passaic officers drawing their guns. So
Wow. That's
Montclair,
surprising.
campus police kind of just assisting them.
Right.
Yeah.
So it wasn't
That's-
really there.
That's kind of what I think.
Yeah. So like we had to even go through the count, like we couldn't go through the school police to get the report
Oh, really?
because
Yeah.
it was technically Passaic's problem.
Ah.
So yeah. So
Wow.
yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah, no, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was intense. I mean, for me it wasn't. 'Cause
Right.
It was so quick. you
Yeah, I know.
So
It seems like it was almost over before you could really.
right. So it wasn't, I think everyone thinks it was some like super intense standoff,
Right.
but I feel like, you know, it's easy to sensationalize a gun being
Oh,
pulled.
of course.
Especially
on,
since
you
we
know.
see a lot of like police chasing stuff.
Exactly,
glorified in
yeah.
Hollywood
exactly.
movies. Not glorified, but like you said, like intensified in Hollywood
Yeah,
movies, and something
yeah.
like this just wasn't
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, no, thank God it wasn't that, you know.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So
So did you get most of the information from like the there was of course the police report? Was there any other sources that you kind of reached out to?
there was one girl on, I think she was on the top floor. It's
Mhm.
unconfirmed, but you know, she saw it.
Yes.
Right.
She was the one who gave us the video.
Uh-huh.
She was some first semester PhD student, but I think this was literally her first semester here.
Wow.
And she saw the whole thing happen, and you know, that was our main eyewitness,
Huh.
because although I was there, and that's, you know, that's an eyewitness account,
Right.
Yeah, of course.
but you know, we wanted a little more, just to give the story some flavor.
Yeah.
You know, because I can't, like, although I could tell it from a first person perspective, I don't know, I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So
And the other witness was Tina Wu, correct? Wu.
that's who gave
interviewed
us the that's
So-
who gave us the video.
Regarding that, like you said,
Mhm.
she was a first year PhD student, first semester here.
Yeah.
Not a great first starting experience.
Yeah, poor thing.
And
Yeah.
So what was it like, that interview process? Like, how did you get a hold of her? Because obviously you were on the ground floor outside. She was
Yeah.
inside the building. How did you like reach out to her and connect to get this video and stuff?
So this was more of a group effort because there's so many
Oh yeah, I'm sure everyone knew on
components.
it.
So I was actually not the one who reached out to her.
Oh,
In fact, I think once someone on the Montclarion photography team had seen someone post a video and then reached out to them,
okay.
then
Mhm.
went to our photo editor, and then went to me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it was the whole thing. I'm just the one who kind of compiled the information and was there and took some photos and whatnot.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, this is definitely, it had to be a group effort. Everything happened so
Yeah,
quick. You
exactly.
know?
Yeah.
So,
And especially since it happened yesterday and
Mhm.
not even today. You had the article up last night.
it would be old news if we
Yeah.
put it up
At
tonight.
that
So
point, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, we
So
had to,
you really do have to work quick and
absolutely.
regarding everything,
yeah.
especially anything that goes on here in Montclair, something
Oh, yeah.
that big too. And the story also said there was so the main perpetrator, the one who stole the car, didn't go to Montclair, but the article also said there was a student here who was involved in it, who was later
Yeah.
arrested.
Yeah, she was the passenger. As far as we know, we don't know. She's 18 years old. We don't know anything else other than her
Right.
name, her hometown, what she's charged with.
Right.
Her
Mhm.
yeah. So we don't. Other than that, we don't have much information on who she is. But all we do know is that she apparently was a student. That's what our staff was told.
Mhm.
Right. Okay. And
So
you, as going back to what you were saying before, you were there on the scene when
Yeah.
it happened. Were
Yeah.
you then questioned by the police as an eyewitness?
no, because I didn't witness a crime. So
Yeah,
it's
right.
I don't really have to be an eyewitness. I did try asking the cops questions though, but they couldn't.
Mm.
They were like under confidentiality. They
I
wouldn't-
think so. I don't know what
Something
the
like
I don't know what
that,
the law
yeah.
is behind that. I should probably look into that. But no, I guess and I didn't really want to push it because
Yeah,
it was
intense situation.
this is an
kind of.
intense situation, I'm sure, for them. So, but yeah, no, and we tried finding people who did see it, but the people with the best office views didn't see it. So it was kind of a dead end with that. But thank God we got Tina Wu to help us out.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. And
yeah.
obviously the campus police and, as you said, Passaic
Mhm.
police, handled this very well. And do you think that's because we're a closed off campus? Do you think something like this would have been a bit more bigger had it been an open campus? Do you think more of the public would have been not in danger, but like, do you think there would have been bigger consequences having something like this happen more so on an open campus?
I mean, I think we're considered an open campus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because a closed campus, you don't have permission to be on. Like you need permission. Like that, there would be gates.
Uh-huh.
Like I think Ramapo University might be.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I know people that go there, and
Uh-huh.
it's I recall there's you have to go through gates to
Yeah,
Ah,
get some
okay.
sort of
So,
pass. to
yeah,
get in.
like I think the only reason why we don't see more public on campus
Mhm.
because we're just farther off.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I was under the impression close open campus just meant like you were part of a city, like I said before,
No,
Drexel,
no,
NYU. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm wrong.
yeah.
So yeah, so we are an open campus. So that really shows like how good of a job they can do. And we don't
Yeah.
often see too many people from off campus causing
Yeah,
a
no,
ruckus,
it's not
for lack
normally
of
a
a better word.
problem.
Right, right.
We have the
But I guess
tours
that's
here
just how
all
it
the
is.
time.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
but
not.
that's
It's not going
because
to be a thing most of the time. But
yeah,
Yeah.
I would attribute a lot of that to campus police. They do a very good job of what they do. I mean, they got this all done quickly, safely. Nobody was hurt,
Mhm.
at least to my knowledge. I don't know if you got other information within your article.
No,
If
yeah. I mean,
good.
there were no there was no ambulance.
Right,
So,
yeah.
you know, I'm assuming there's no injuries. We
Everyone
weren't
was
even
fine.
told that there were any injuries. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming it was
Mhm.
pretty clean.
Yeah, you think they put that in the police report? if
They-
there
Yeah,
was
they
some
would.
degree
They
of
especially
that.
if it was the two people who were arrested, they'd probably
Yeah.
throw that in there
Yeah,
too. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, they did this just
it was in broad daylight. Yeah,
broad daylight.
it was like right, and
Mhm.
it was weird, man. They were because it was right before classes had ended
Mhm.
for the time period.
Right.
Like it was like right before 11 or something,
Yeah.
and they're just students like walking through the cop
Gosh.
cars and everything.
Yeah,
And
you can see it in the pictures.
there was one of the pictures. It's like there's a tour going.
Yeah.
Oh
exactly.
no.
Yeah, they were searching
That's
the
so
car,
awkward.
and there was a tour going by. I was like, that's a terrible look, man.
Aw.
Like that's
Could you imagine
that's
taking
not
your
a
kid to a college and that goes down?
like
Ugh.
you think back to when we were looking at colleges
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
how scared you were.
Yeah,
And,
you're scared
I-
about just doing like the normal stuff. Now you got to worry about this.
right, and you see like cops searching a car that hit a light post, like
Ugh.
6 cop cars. you know?
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
not a great look.
yeah,
So
something like that. It's
Yeah.
not probably the best.
not good for PR.
Yeah, not exactly. And our newscaster today, Madi, was telling us how
Mhm.
when she was here, her first day as a freshman,
Yeah.
that something like this happened where cops had to pull
Yeah.
their guns for a fight in transit, which
Yeah.
is wow.
That one I think they received scrutiny for though.
Oh, really?
Because it was students.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all students.
Okay.
And it wasn't like,
Oh.
it wasn't a pursuit or a stolen vehicle. It was just a fight that broke out.
Yeah. That
So
happens.
yeah, it was kind of weird that they drew guns for that. So
Mm.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, if it was just a fight, that would have been probably could have
Yeah.
been broken up pretty easily. But
Oh, absolutely.
you mentioned before how this
Mhm.
entire article was almost a team effort for the Montclarion, and considering how relevant a situation is like this, then how it affects most of the people on campus, seeing as it happened here, what was the timeline for the creation of this article? Because like you said, team effort, you got it out very fast,
Yeah.
obviously, so there was a deadline you had to meet, but how did you go about reaching it and just getting everything? Because it may not like it happened all quickly, but there was a lot to cover.
Yeah, no, it happened over a couple hours. I mean, I started off with what I knew
Mhm.
and what I could work with because like I mentioned, I was there. So
Yeah.
that's-
So you saw what happened.
exactly, that's one eyewitness account. So I could, I saw from when they had their guns drawn to like just a little after, so that's
Yeah.
I was able to describe that and what happened then. But we had a bulk of it down. We had most of the photography done.
Mhm.
And the rest of the day until I wrote the rest of the article was just trying to get the police report or some sort of statement from the police.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
a pain. That's like
Yeah, I'm sure. What sort of process do you have to go through to get that?
well, originally we thought that it was going to be Montclair police, Montclair campus
Yeah,
police that we
right.
have to
Okay.
deal with.
Kind of like like a mass student email.
Not even that. Our news editor has a relationship with the
Oh, okay.
with the chief.
Mhm.
I don't know. Obviously, we need to get information
Yeah,
pretty
some
often,
source,
so it's
yeah.
good to build relationships
Of
with,
course.
with these sorts of things. But no, then they told us a little after that it wouldn't be through them. So then there's this whole process. Like one of the photo editor went to the station, it was closed, and it
Mm.
took a while to respond. So that was the only thing, and then I wrote it, and the rest of it in like an hour. So you really gotta grind once you get all the
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know about that here.
Yeah, I'm
on the
sure.
radio.
I'm sure. That's what media is. It's all
Yeah,
It
good.
is,
it's a
especially
scam.
especially journalism and news media. You have to
Yeah.
be
Absolutely.
up and ready with the
Yeah.
latest because things happen fast.
Yeah. No, and I mean that's why I don't love hard news personally.
Mhm.
Because I like I like having time to write my stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, to
So
think
I want to
about it.
digest it. And,
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
want
That's
to
true. Yeah.
I want to
Marinate.
be able to speak. Yeah, I wanted to marinate. I want to be able
Get a
to
little
speak about it.
zesty.
Right, exactly. So, that's what I prefer more features and whatnot.
Oh
But
yeah.
every
totally.
now and then you get a good hard news story and
Oh,
you
yeah.
got to write it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Something
so-
like this is
Yeah.
just out of the ordinary.
Absolutely.
Obviously out of the ordinary. We don't see this on campus every day.
No, absolutely not.
And it's very unfortunate timing that tour group
That
not
is-
only was on campus
yeah.
at that time, but passing by that exact location.
Hey man, life writes itself, man, and
Yeah.
that was one of those instances. Actually, Rocky the mascot,
Wait, really?
he was going by on a golf cart like
Oh,
as the arrest
no.
was happening,
That's so funny.
and it was
Oh,
so.
no.
And then there's this tour passing by,
Mhm.
and there's just students standing around watching. It's so at times just absurd.
Yeah,
Like,
almost surreal.
It
the
is
way
a little
is.
surreal, especially
Yeah.
when I saw freaking Rocky
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Rocky shows up to the
on a golf
Crime
cart.
scene.
Yeah,
Oh.
his
Doing golf
guns
cart
drawn, and
karaoke.
Rocky's just like doing this stupid face, like
like what?
yeah, literally.
Oh, bad time.
What happened?
Bad
Yeah,
timing.
it was really surreal.
Oh,
it
my
was
goodness.
yeah, life imitates art, man.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah, honestly,
that's-
that does feel
it
like
writes
that.
itself. You
Oh.
can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't. But
So,
anyway, thank you so much, Julian, for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for
It
having
was
me.
great
Very
to
cool
have
hear about it.
insight too onto like what went on.
Yeah.
First of all, as from an eyewitness, as you were, and also from behind the scenes, like having to get that whole police report done,
Yeah,
get the
no, of
pictures,
course.
contact the people, and interview them who were, all over,
Yeah.
not all over campus, but like not easily accessible, as I
yeah,
can imagine.
for
But
sure. Yeah,
thank you once more for coming on, and
thank you for having me.
I wish you the
appreciate
best for future articles.
it. Thank
Yeah,
you guys. I
hope-
appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Better subject matter.
Yeah.
There's always
More
better subjects.
features.
Yeah, more features. Yeah.
But with that being said, we are going to take a quick little break, and when we come back, we will have Emily McCormack giving you the latest on Tunes on Tuesday. So stay tuned for that. Welcome back to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. This is the Fall Morning Buzz. As always, I'm your host, Kyle Pepitone, co-host Jacob Goetz, and unfortunately, our newscaster and sportscaster are still on hiatus.
I know, I missed
We had to
them.
kick them out. They didn't pay rent or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where this bit is going. Anyway, replacing them for now is our Tunes on Tuesday segment host, Emily McCormack, here to
Hello.
give you the latest on what's going to happen on this week on Tunes on Tuesday. Did I say Tunes on Tuesdays before?
Tune on to
I feel like I missed a vital part of the word.
I don't know. Twos kind of works.
I guess.
It's like abbreviated.
yeah, Tunes on Tues.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Emily, what's going on
Okay.
today? What can we expect
Hello.
from Tunes on Tuesday?
So Tunes on Tuesday is our weekly new music show curated by the music team here at WMSC. This week's interviews, yes, I say interviews with an S, is Montclair State University's own Brielle Renee, interviewed by Amina Ali, as well as interview with New York-based band Megawave, which I will get to just afterwards. Renee talks about her passion for music, starting as a kid in a church choir. She talks about her musical inspirations and the balance between her career and student life at Montclair, as well as advice from her personal experiences. She speaks about her dream collaborations and aspirations after she gets her degree, such as appearing on musical competition shows such as American Idol. She describes her songs as a diary entry where she explores topics that are always very true to herself, which applies to her debut single, Great Expectations, a song released earlier this year that explores personal relationships and helps her listeners ease into the next one. Renee announces information about new music to come out soon, and maybe it comes out later this month, but you'll have to listen in if you want to know more about it. And her single will play during this week's episode of Tunes on Tuesday. Now, as I mentioned, that is not all. This week, we also speak to Long Island-based band Megawave, interviewed by Shaina Gonzalez. The band speaks about the inspiration behind their name, musical influences including Paramore, and their exploration of musical genres mixing indie, alternative, and prog rock, as well as power pop and funk. The members speak about their album artwork, the timeline of their musical careers, and their process of producing new music, as well as personal growth as musicians. Megawave also reflects upon their experiences with the COVID-19 pandemic and how it impacted their career as artists, navigating the digital world and moving to online concerts on platforms such as Twitch, where they perform on Wednesday nights. Megawave's first full-length album, Rainbow Heartache, will debut on December 3rd, 2021. New music from Brielle Renee, Megawave, and much more on this week's episode, where today's tunes includes music from bands like the Aubreys, I Don't Know How, But They Found Me, featuring Tessa Violet, Sia, Green Day, Rachel Bachner, Phineas, and feature Jack Sampson's new single from his debut EP titled Signs. Tunes on Tuesday premieres at 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can listen in for new music and good vibes.
Whoa.
I had a lot today.
You
Yeah.
did. Everything sounds amazing and so interesting. When I read, look, I saw you typing this beforehand, before the show. When I saw that we had somebody from the university,
Mhm.
boom.
I
I
thought
love that. That's
awesome.
amazing.
That's
because
always cool. Yeah.
we have, like, just being in radio, we have a whole slew of musicians here that are working on personal projects.
Exactly.
I mean, half of them work together on the musical, but to see it like outside of radio, to see like people all across campus
Yeah.
doing this musical stuff, putting their heart and soul into this stuff, putting it out there, is just amazing. I love it. And
Mhm.
I guess I say it like that because that's a dream of mine, and I want to be like that sometime. I want to have music out there, not just for myself, but for everyone to listen to. And so I don't know, the whole local thing just fills me with so much joy and serotonin.
No, it is really nice, especially like, I don't know, because like you said, like there are a lot of musicians in the radio station, but
Yeah.
I want to know more.
It's
I want
almost
more-
like I'm talking to
yeah.
one right now.
Oh yeah,
Whoa, imagine.
it's crazy.
I mean, Jake is.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
okay.
No, I was
It's almost
thinking
like-
about that. I got really excited when I saw like, Montclair involved in it, because I know
Mhm.
that we do have a lot of artists around here, even beyond just the station itself.
Yeah.
And so, when I got the episode sent to me and I saw Montclair State, I thought that was really awesome. And I'm glad that we have the platform where we could
Mhm.
play
Totally.
music for people
Yeah, and
who
bring
are,
people together in that way.
just our classmates, but doing awesome stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. And also the fact that we can get to, like, we have this whole time slot where we can feature multiple interviews, the whole, not only Brielle Renee, but also Megawave too on
Yeah.
here.
Mhm.
It's cool. I've never heard of them, but I really want to check them out now.
I personally haven't before this episode, but I was listening to the singles. This week's single that we feature this week is called Slow Motion. I listened to it. I think it's pretty great.
Yeah. Because okay, so first off, I'm gonna run down everything you've just said about this band because if you've ever listened to any of my interviews with bands, my first question is always, how did you get your name? Because I love hearing those stories. And then album artwork, as a animator / graphic designer, I feel like I'm obligated to ask those questions. So seeing that too is just really cool. And then you ran through, their genres: indie, alternative, prog rock, power pop, funk. I'm here for all of that kind of stuff. So I'm excited. This might be my favorite Tunes on Tuesday episode yet. Obviously, I haven't heard it yet, so remains to be seen. But it's looking pretty good. I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Yes, it's good stuff.
Jake, what about you?
I see Green Day, so it's like, if nothing else, there's that.
All right.
But
Well,
I'm sure everything else is great too.
we have a whole bunch of things, and I forget. Jared has some kind of connection with Jack Sampson, right?
Yes, no, I believe this is a bit of a shot in the dark, but I want to say it's a cousin
I
Some sort of
remember hearing that.
relative?
I could be wrong,
or
but-
just like a friend. But yes, Jared is.
yeah.
Yep.
Which is also cool because obviously people from campus, you go to the same school as them, they're within
Yeah.
arm's reach of like working with them or hearing their stuff, but also being related to someone like that,
Yeah. No.
like a
People.
musician. and having like, because Jared is also huge on making music too.
Yes.
So, you know, he
Very good
has that
guitarist.
connection right there. Not just guitar, he's very good at everything.
Yeah. But like, I don't know.
What was Ben's quote that he knows like every, or was it Ben? I forget who said it, but like they said Jared and Tara know every instrument in the instrument tree.
Um,
I mean, it's insane how like not even just overall, but just like how much local talent there is, because we've had all these local bands
yeah.
for tunes, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we've had like State 5 is not local to this area, but they're a much smaller band over on the West Coast.
Mhm.
And there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. There's so much unheard music that, you know, people are making, and then we, like you said before, we have that platform to, you know, showcase.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And we've even gotten a taste of that too with the not on Tune specifically, but we had the whole show for the musical.
Yes.
We spent a half hour before it premiered. We talked about it. We're
just
like,
talking about it.
hey, we spent 2 weeks making music. Some of us lost our sanity, but here it is.
Yay.
And you know, that's such a great it's great to be on both ends of that. I'm gonna say that
Mhm.
as somebody who has experienced being the interviewer and interviewee. Any interview regarding music is the best,
Yeah.
because not only if you're the interviewer do you get to ask these questions you've been dying to know about these artists.
Mhm.
My always main two: where did you get your name? What inspired the album artwork? But as the interviewee, you get to say all that stuff. You
Yeah.
get to tell people what your thought process was, because not all of it comes across in the music.
Mhm.
Like, you get the chance to break down certain lines, being like, this is exactly what you meant, not up for
Yeah, your
interpretation.
genius lyric page.
Yeah.
You get to do one of those.
Yeah. And it's
Man.
so fun because, like I said, like not only for the what is it called? Thinking. Not only for the musical, and not only for State 5, the
Mhm.
band I interviewed a few weeks back, but when I put out my first single, "To Prove to You," way back in May,
Yeah.
which feels like an eternity ago,
Mhm.
I held a special episode of King's Chaos where I got my two other music friends, Jeff Nelson and Jack Powers, and we kind of just did like a cross interview. Two of us would interview the other two would interview whoever song we just heard
Mhm.
and go through that. And that was fun too, because it's something different too.
Yeah.
Because obviously, how often do you have a 3-way interview between people making music?
Yeah,
So
no,
I
that is
really
unique.
enjoyed that. And I just want to ask you, Jake, like, have you ever had like an interview, like not on either side, as interviewer or interviewee? Because you've put out an EP,
Yeah.
and I don't know how far you are along, but you are working on something new too, right?
Yeah, no, I want to put out an album, and I think I'm pretty close to having enough material for it, but I want to have more popular stuff because most of it's like, I don't know. But
Sad Boy
yeah,
Hours.
no, most of it's Sad Boy Hours material, and it's like, you know, we gotta. I also want to get into more. Okay, wait, no, that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, well, trust me, when you put out the album, we'll make sure to get you on Tunes on Tuesday.
Yeah. Oh, oh man, that'd be so cool. But yeah, no, I haven't been interviewed that much, I think, but I had a whole interview show on here, The Broken Record, during the winter of 2020.
Oh yeah.
And that was so fun. Because I was too scared to contact like bands or anything like that. So I just like interviewed people from like around the station and like my friends. And gosh, it was
it is a nerve-wracking thing to do, to reach out to bands.
no, yeah, I wouldn't even consider that, because at that point I didn't really know anyone from the station, so I was
Right.
just kind of trying to do that, you know.
Yeah. But with that being said, you are listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. Thank you, Emily, for the whole spiel on Tunes on Tuesday. I, for one, look forward to this episode for both our local Montclair artists and, of course, Megawave. So thank you for coming on once again. Thank you for talking music.
Of course.
It's no secret that I love it. I'm sure
Of course.
Jake loves it just as much. But with that being said, we are going into the second hour of the Morning Buzz right after this break. And welcome back to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. Congratulations, you have reached hour 2 of the Morning Buzz, and as a reward, you get this special badge.
Woo, you did it!
Yeah, except
Woo.
it's on radio, so you can't.
I'm looking at it right now. I
censor
swear it's so pretty. You're gonna love it.
Imagination.
welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Buzz Fall 2021 Tuesday edition, whatever you may have it. I'm your host, still Kyle Pepitone, joined with co-host Jacob Goetz, newscaster Madi Zuniga, and our sportscaster Campbell Donovan. And as always, they get priority at the top of the hour. Madi, please share with us your newscast.
In state news, students at Rowan University rallied on Monday to speak out about a recent death of a student died by suicide. The student died from a fall from a campus parking garage. The student was the fourth to die from suicide since 2017. The rally flyer said, a call to action amidst the mental health crisis. Student Jose Cardona organized the event to bring attention to the mental crisis and is still finding more ways to help his fellow students. In national news, 4 astronauts returned to Earth Monday night, ending a 200-day space mission that started last spring. The SpaceX capsule parachuted into the Gulf of Mexico on the coast of Pensacola, Florida. The astronauts were expected back Monday morning, but due to high winds in the recovery zone, they had to delay their return to Monday night. The next crew will be up there for 6 months, welcoming back-to-back tourist groups. In international news, Poland is accusing Belarus of pushing migrants toward their borders. The Polish government called for a meeting Monday, calling the situation a crisis. They deployed 12,000 troops to the area after they described it as a hostile activity. The NATO alliance said that it was worried about the escalation on the border with Poland and is ready to maintain safety and security in the region. In local news, on Sunday afternoon, 2 passengers were killed and one was critically injured after a 15-year-old slammed head-on to another vehicle in a stolen SUV. Jody Mcu, 61, and the teen driver were pronounced dead at the scene. The 14-year-old passenger of the stolen SUV is in critical condition. The vehicle was reported stolen at 12:40 p.m. and authorities received a call of the incident at 1:09 p.m. The SUV headed east on the Princeton-Kingston Road when the 15-year-old driver crossed over the yellow line and struck the vehicle driven by Mcu. Weather. Today's weather is clear with a high of 69 and a low of 46, with a humidity level of 88%. The air quality is fair with a level of 30.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And throwing it immediately over to Campbell. Campbell, World of Sports, what's happening?
Well, Kyle, time for the 8 a.m. Sportscast. Monday Night Football. The Pittsburgh Steelers get out of a close one last night as Cairo Santos missed a 60-yard field goal that potentially could have gave the Bears the win, but, it was 10 yards short, and Heinz Field was jumping last night. In the NHL, the Panthers lose to the Rangers last night, and Florida will be in New York tonight to take on the Devils. NBA, the Knicks will defeat the Philadelphia 76ers as the Brooklyn Nets lose by 23 to the Chicago Bulls. Sad news yesterday in the world of baseball. Former New York Mets reliever Pedro Feliciano passed away suddenly in his sleep at the age of 45. NCAA men's soccer tournament in Division 3 comes to MSU Soccer Park, and the men's soccer team will be in the tournament as they were playing against Gordon College in the first round. And on this day in 1965, Willie Mays wins the National League Most Valuable Player Award. That's been your 8 a.m. Sportscast here in 90.3 WMC Upper Montclair on the Tuesday morning buzz. Back to you, Kyle.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And now we get into the fun part of the Morning Buzz. We get all the cool stories going on in the world. Our number one story today is from abcnews.go.com. Marvel's Eternals opens with 71 million, but audience responses are mixed. Marvel's Eternals was the 4th highest grossing movie of opening weekend to be released in theaters over the pandemic. The top 3 being Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, opening at $75.3 million, Black Widow opening at $80 million, and Venom Let There Be Carnage opening at $90 million. While domestic gross was only projected to be $75 million, The film received moderate reviews from audience goers. Eternals is the first movie in the MCU to rank rotten in Rotten Tomatoes and a B on CinemaScore. These are record lows for the MCU. One reviewer had this to say about the film, quote, Marvel is the peanut butter of movies. Zhao is the filet mignon of directors, and I just wasn't fully enjoying my peanut butter steak, end quote.
That's great.
Oh, I mean, wow. Marvel took a hit.
Yeah.
I mean, not even that. Like, even Shang-Chi and Black Widow aren't the highest grossing
Those
ones.
are not the numbers they were making.
No. But then
in the
again,
past. Of course, yeah. There were
Black Widow was, for lack of a better word, simulcast with streaming.
Right.
So people had an option. And I believe these are only the box office numbers. And
presumably.
you know, I'm gonna say this. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, honestly, like have you looked at that trailer?
I saw the trailers. I'm like,
it doesn't look good.
It didn't.
Okay, so here's my thing. I was talking a lot with one of our members. I talk a lot with one of our members, Trevor, who's a
Yes, of course, big
film
guy.
person. I feel like I've learned a lot from him. My initial reaction to the Eternals trailer was this: there's nothing there to make me care about the cat. There's no stakes.
Mm-hmm.
There's like what 10 or so immortal beings.
Mm-hmm.
There's no stakes. There's nothing to care about because you already know they can surmount all odds. And me not knowing a thing about Eternals before this trailer, I got from the trailer, okay, they can literally do anything.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
that was my immediate initial reaction to the trailer.
I also feel like in the trailer they're still living in the shadow of the Avengers from the Avengers, you know, first the 3 movies. Like they reference Thor, they reference Spider-Man, but like if you want to have Eternals to be its own thing, don't focus on the other heroes. Because we just did the Infinity War series. Like we're moving on now. Let's let Eternals be its own thing. I just feel like they're just constantly living in their shadow.
Right. Did you see it?
I have not seen it.
Okay. Yeah, because and here's my thing, just overall, just everything after Endgame just feels like a downhill.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know. Another thing that really bothers me about Marvel movies is that they look so like ugly. Like they're ugly movies. Like think about like even like Endgame, which is supposed to be like, which was like, I don't know, like most of that took place in this weird brown rustic rubble area, and everything's like just dark and just grimy.
Which really doesn't fit Marvel a lot,
right? Like you think like these are supposed to be fun,
but if you think about it, Endgame was supposed to be that type of movie. You started all gloomy because everything went downhill,
and then it ended.
They had to bring it back.
So did the MCU. But that's what I'm saying. It's not. They went too big. They've reached their magnum opus with Thanos.
Yeah.
And now everything is kind of just like, okay, we went big, but now everything's down here.
And I also feel like they're almost kind of breaking their own rules, because a big thing that like part of the reason why the MCU is the maverick that it is because it was able to build up its characters over time, over a long thing of movies. And as we got into, and it culminated in Endgame, and then, it didn't culminate in Endgame, like Avengers, and then Endgame, and all the other stuff. And it's like, okay, well now you're just throwing this other stuff at us, and it's like,
very true.
I guess
I have one point, but I'm going to say this first. The ghost of Isaiah today asked this question: could it be an overload of superhero movies, maybe a break from the comic book genre?
Honestly,
I mean, I think so.
I feel like we're past that, in my personal opinion. Like I feel like the point where we were like overload of superhero movies was like before Endgame.
Yeah, no, I
don't know, but like at this point we're just, but like the train just keeps on going.
Yeah,
it's making money. Where it's going to keep on going, or maybe not. Since the numbers are dropping.
3 MCU movies this year, so we've had Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals.
And then Spider-Man's coming out soon.
Spider-Man's coming out later this year. That'll be 4 MCU movies. We also had Venom, which is not part of the MCU, but is also a superhero movie. We had Venom 2. Did we get any DC movies this year? We had the Snyder Cut. So we're up to 5 already released
But we also have to think
Movies.
about the Marvel's better projects. For example, they've been focusing a lot on their TV
Mhm.
series.
WandaVision,
and-
Falcon Winter
Yes.
Soldier. We're up to 8 now.
and
I
in
was
terms
the
of
really
What If
better.
series.
What If?
I haven't seen What If, but
I have not
Loki,
either.
WandaVision, and
I'm still behind on Loki.
all
I
of
haven't
those
watched any of
series,
these
I've actually
shows.
been pretty into it because you could tell that Marvel is right now focusing on those
Yeah.
things and Spider-Man. Because right now, I'm really hyped for Spider-Man right now, especially
Yeah.
with that trailer.
That's a whole nother conversation. though. But we're looking at roughly at least 9 superhero releases this year. That's way too much if
It
you ask
is.
me, because it's also taking away, because this is what everybody expects now. They expect this big CGI
Mhm.
fantasy.
it's not exact. I don't know what the right word.
Fanfare. I don't know.
Fanfare. That's what it is.
Fanfare.
And now you're literally taking away from literally any other type of story people want to tell through the film
Yeah.
or through the media of film. So yeah, to agree with Isaiah's, or to answer Isaiah's question, I think we have reached a major overload in comic book blockbusters.
Yeah, I feel like they should at least space them out because you have Black Widow, then you have Shang-Chi, and it's just like,
Yeah.
space it out a little bit.
I mean, Shang-Chi just came out in like September.
Yeah, and then already Eternals, and then already
Mm.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like just do anything else, please. Like I don't know. There's so much creativity to be, I
Yeah.
don't know, done.
And like I will say this: there's a lot of people who go in and work really hard on these movies. I'm not
Mhm.
saying
Oh,
they're
I'm
not doing a
sure.
good job,
Yeah,
but I just
Well-
think they can do a good job on other movies.
Yeah.
yeah. Or like I said, space them out.
Yeah.
Mm.
Give them their own opportunity to shine.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen the projection of whatever it is for MCU in the coming years, but they got loads of stuff going
Yeah,
on,
they have the next Guardians. They have
which they just started shooting.
Thor. Yeah, Thor: Love and Thunder. Black
believe
Panther
Fan-
2.
Yep.
Like those are the movies I think they're hyping up. I feel like the biggest hype that movie was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be. I feel like Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and Eternals are just the fill-in ones that can get people in seats since
Yeah.
movie theaters are opening up.
I think so too, because like they're not connected at all to like the bigger storyline.
Mhm.
Like the way I see it is, it was Endgame, No Way Home, Far From Home, followed up with that Peter's dealing with the aftermath of the late Tony Stark, and then spoilers for the movie, actually I'm not going to say, but then No Way Home is Peter dealing with the aftermath of that.
Mhm.
And then you kind of just have Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, and it's like, oh, that doesn't fit into the storyline that they're telling right now. They're going along this multiverse storyline in which WandaVision and Loki seem to connect into
They're
that.
setting it up, and the Spider-Man sets it up, and then
Exactly.
then
But Black
Doctor
Widow,
Strange.
Shang-Chi, and by my guess, Eternals aren't fitting into that multiverse arc per se of the MCU timeline.
They're just the filler movies.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ant-Man, those movies.
Yeah. But that's just my opinion for this. I mean our opinion overall.
That's just a theory. A
fi-
game.
A
No,
film,
a film
theory.
theory.
A film.
I
theory.
guess.
he has a channel called Film Theory.
Yes.
The
Yes.
Film theorist.
But with that being said, we are going to take a quick break, and then we will be back with more stories. So stay tuned for that. Welcome back to 90.3 WMSC. This is the Morning Buzz on a Tuesday in the fall in the year 2021, except 2 out of 3 of those things won't be happening for much longer as winter is approaching, even though it's supposed to be like 70 today.
Kyle,
Yes.
I want to interrupt you before you reintroduce everyone for the 10,000th time. Is the club going up on a Tuesday today
Nice.
or not?
Not that I know of. Where-
You do not get that reference?
I get the reference, but I just
No?
don't. No, we don't have any stories about any clubs.
Uh,
The radio
Yeah.
station I know is firmly grounded here in
Well,
Upper Montclair.
I mean, it is a club, student club organization.
Club. And
Good
we are
point.
upstairs.
See?
Smart,
See, WMC is going up on a Tuesday.
smart,
Mm.
smart. Okay,
Nice.
okay. Yes, and like Campbell said, it is time to reintroduce everybody for the umpteenth time. Kyle Pepitone, Jacob Goetz, Campbell Donovan, Mari Zuniga. You know the roles by now. If I have to say them again, I'll say them later. You know who we are at this point.
Yeah.
And we are in the second hour. As always, this is where we get to the more or the less hard stories, the fun stories, the good news stories,
the noodly stories.
the noodly stories, as Jake has said. But speaking of good news, Jake, you have some good science news for us,
really
right?
good sciencey stuff. So
All right, hit
prostate
us.
cancer breakthrough, a protein that stops tumor growth, is discovered as a remedy for drug resistance. A new study from Washington University of Medicine in St. Louis has identified an RNA molecule that suppresses prostate tumors. The scientists found that the prostate cancers develop ways to shut down this RNA molecule to allow themselves to grow. When they implanted mice with human prostate tumor samples, the new treatment resorted to this so-called long non-coding RNA, and they hailed it as a new strategy to treat cancer, which has developed resistance to hormonal therapies. Newfam P. Mahajan, PhD, a professor of surgery, that had stated that, quote, the drugs that we have to treat prostate cancer are effective initially, but most patients start developing resistance, and the drugs usually stop working after a year or two. At that point, the options available for these patients are very limited. We are interested in developing new therapies for patients who have developed resistance, and we believe the RNA molecule we've pinpointed may lead to an effective approach. About 1 in 8 men will get prostate cancer, end quote. About 1 in 8 men will get prostate cancer, making it one of the most common male cancers. It mainly affects people over the age of 50.
Wow. I mean, that's good.
Yeah, always great to see, science making, life better, making medicine more effective.
Yeah, anything revolving medicine is good news. However, I will say I am bad with medical stuff. Like,
oh no, it's tough, right?
I cannot like read anything detail, like any
No, yeah,
medical reports
it's
detail.
oh gosh, I'm actually taking a biology class right now, and
Oh,
we're
I'm
learning
so
about like,
sorry.
oh wow,
Yeah, fun
it's
times.
crazy.
Ugh.
No, and no, we're learning about like the heart and circulatory system, and that I don't know, something about that really kind of messes with me.
See, here's the thing. I feel like so I back in my like middle school biology or
Mhm.
whatever, we had to do actual like dissections and stuff.
Whoa, wait,
I
really?
haven't done that
Yeah.
until I came here to MSU. It was my
Really?
first time doing
No,
a
I've never
dissection.
done that.
We dissected like I think it was like a sheep brain and a cow eye.
I did that
We
like
didn't
2 weeks ago.
we didn't do the classic frog, unfortunately.
No.
The weird thing is, like reading about it, I am a mess. My legs get all jelly and stuff, and
Mhm.
like I get all queasy. But like I feel like I'm much more composed when I'm like actually doing the physical thing. For some reason, reading it and picturing in my head is just far more
Yeah, the
nauseating.
concept of it is worse.
I
than the
guess so.
actual thing.
That must be it. But so unfortunately, I probably will never go into the medical field.
Yes. Yeah. No.
But
that would
I
be...
have respect
Oh,
for the people
massive
who are right now,
respect.
who are
Jeez.
discovering this kind of stuff, because this is
Or discovering, or even just practicing. Because,
Yeah.
Geez, could you imagine like the responsibility and everything? Oh,
I mean,
gosh, it's
we
bizarre.
we have a like not personally, but we have a sense of what they had to go through through just the past
Oh my gosh.
15-ish months or whatever.
It's yeah,
They've
bizarre to
been,
think about.
the medical field is just, they put out troopers.
Yeah.
Mad respect to, okay, I hate the way that I said that.
No.
Major respect to anybody in the medical field. It's not an easy job, and like you come up with stuff like this, finding ways to slow down tumor growth for prostate cancer and all other kinds of diseases, and it feels right that we cover it, because they are just hitting it out of the park with all this
Mhm.
stuff. Vaccines, medication, all that kind of stuff.
Ever
So,
since the peak of the pandemic, I've been like looking into medical professionals, especially the
Right.
ones who are famous on YouTube. And I like learn about like the medical humanities and how
Yeah, that whole
they
thing.
deal with a lot of stuff these days, especially with COVID going on, and things like this with new discoveries. It's so interesting to see how they do things.
yeah, very true. Especially like with how fast it can be not replicated, but like produced and stuff. Like I always go back to this. It took a year to find a COVID vaccine.
Yeah.
And it did take a little longer for it to like get FDA approval and stuff. But the fact that we had it in less than a year is just like, oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, even I always go back to this when I go back to that, I go back to this, and which it says the flu vaccine took 4 years to produce.
Mhm.
And that was only 100 years ago ish,
Yeah.
which is just whoo, insane.
That just tells you how much science has advanced.
Yeah,
and-
science, medicine, modern technology, it's all just it's just beyond my conception at this point. Like, I cannot believe I'm living in a time when this kind of stuff is just
Yeah.
possible, so easily accessible, so easily, I'm not going to say easily made, but like how quickly it can be made and stuff.
Mhm.
Mhm. We're like living in a textbook moment.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like you read it in your history classes, you don't
Yeah.
think, you know what, this is part of the history where someone one day, if in the future, if we're studying textbooks, someone's gonna open the textbook and be like, COVID-19, the pandemic, it's
COVID-19.
insane.
An entire textbook.
January 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the history books.
I've lived through enough history, honestly. Like I had
I lived through enough history
Yeah.
in 1 year of my life than most
want-
people did in all of
yeah.
theirs.
You're just like, can we have a break? Just,
Yeah, I
like,
want the
small
rest
break?
like nothing happened.
Just
So there
vibe.
was the Trump presidency was like super crazy. There was the COVID, and like these two things happened. It was insane, and then nothing for like until 3000. Everything was fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Um,
And then we reached year 3000, and then it's
and
just-
then something else happened. But I
yeah,
don't care
whatever.
then.
I forget how the lyrics go, but whatever the Jonas Brothers.
Wow.
Oh,
said,
yeah.
that's what happens.
Well, did they live underwater?
That's what
Yeah,
it is.
that's
Yes, in the year 3000, everything's Atlantis.
yeah. And your great granddaughter is doing fine,
Wow.
or your
Yeah.
great granddaughter.
There'd be a lot
is
more
doing
greats.
fine.
There'd be a lot more greats in there. I just want to say. But anyway, that's what we have to say on that. When we come back, we get into the best segment of the show, the kicker stories, where everything just goes haywire. But before that, we're going to take a short break, and we're coming back with, the usual crazy stuff that you would not believe is actually happening. So stay tuned for that. Okay, I'm going to admit I don't think I scared anyone that time with the Weird Al liner. I think my crew has come to expect it at this point.
It was also pretty quiet, so it wasn't,
Yeah, it was. What was up with that?
I don't know.
Supposed to blow your eardrums out.
It gives me a heart attack every time I edit on the Thursdays.
Ah.
I'm just like, okay, ready, and then it's just wake up. It's like I already am awake. Okay, you just made me more awake.
Yeah, I mean, I try to. And whenever I see like the energy lacking,
Mhm.
I try to throw it in. Get people up. And I'm pretty sure there's been a few instances where people have just jolted in their seats when they've done it, and it didn't even have to be on the buzz. But yeah. Anyway, welcome back to the Morning Buzz. You know the drill by now. It's Tuesday in the fall of 2021. I'm your host, Kyle Pepitone, co-host Jacob Goetz, Sportscaster Campbell Donovan, newscaster Marty Zuzaniga. Welcome back to the show. You think with the amount of times I do that, I'd actually get it right at some point, but apparently not. So apologies for the past and any future mispronunciations of your names. Thank you. Anyway, welcome to the last half hour of the Morning Buzz. This is where all the fun stuff comes in, starting with a story from The Guardian, where 1 in 10 people regrets making a pandemic purchase. ADA research has shown that British households spend 6.6 billion euros, equivalent to $7.6 billion, on things they no longer use. Another study of 4,000 participants found that 1 in 10 people bought items during the pandemic that they now regret. Some of the items include gaming systems, DIY tools, clothing, home gym equipment, etc. And the study also found that many of these people either sold or donated the objects or purchases they no longer use. And I ask the question to the room right now, do you fall in this category? Obviously, not this category specifically, because we're not in Britain. We don't spend euros here. But have you bought something over the pandemic that you're like, maybe not?
I actually ended up purchasing things that I needed.
Yeah.
It's
Whoa.
weird. Like I got this little desk thing, so when I edit or when I'm on Zoom, I could still sit on my bed, but have this little table.
Oh,
on top.
that's so
like a lap
nice.
desk.
That
Oh, I
sounds
love those.
And it
incredible.
has a little cup holder, so I can put my drink in there. So like I
Aw.
could just vibe while sitting in bed.
Nice.
You know what I
Yeah.
bought during the pandemic?
What?
A beanbag chair.
Okay, he wins. Campbell wins.
Can't
Best
put those
purchase.
away.
Wait, do you? Okay.
I sit in my beanbag chair, watch TV, play video games, and I'm living life
Mm.
in my attic room with filled with sports memorabilia and my desk with
Oh.
my computer when I edit and have my podcast mic. I'm just living life, Kyle.
I'm
Man.
Campbell
jealous.
really
There are
set the
no
scene for
regrets
us.
here. Wow.
No, he knows
I'm
exactly
just
what he's
teeing
doing.
off right now. And
Mhm.
I'm just saying, I'm just basically
Beautiful.
gloating in front of
Yeah.
my fellow peers here on today's show.
You really set the scene for us.
Mm,
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
Man.
But yeah, I'm with you, Monty. I bought stuff I only needed.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought a computer because I'm like, okay, Zoom University ain't ending anytime soon, so
Yeah.
might as well get something that can handle, Photoshop. Because my 6-year-old PC or not PC computer that I have laptop right now ain't ideal for the job. So Jake, what about you?
Oh man. There's I got a piano that not like an actual piano. It was like a keyboard, because I
Nice.
want to learn it, and I still want to. I guess I don't regret it, but I haven't learned it very much.
Made any hot beats?
No, not yet. No, I need to.
Bring it in. We'll work on something.
Yeah, maybe I should.
Yeah. So it seems like none of us really bought anything that we regret.
Oh wait, no, I have something I regret.
Oh,
I
okay.
got, oh man, there was this band that I follow. It's like a smaller band, and there was the lead singer of the band was selling like a loop pedal, not a loop pedal, a distortion pedal
Oh, okay.
that they made themselves.
Interesting.
And I kind of want to be friends with this person, so I was like they were talking about selling them, and I was like, yo, like that sounds so cool. And I just kind of like wanted to talk to him, and like I don't know, I was like, yeah, okay, I'll take a distortion pedal. That might be a cool sound. And I got it, and it didn't work.
Ah.
Ugh,
I actually bought something during the pandemic that I actually haven't used yet.
well,
And the only reason why I regret it is because I don't use it.
uh-huh.
Okay.
It's this like a podcast type microphone. I
Right.
have one of these at home.
Oh yeah.
But I never had the chance to use it because I'm like,
Ah.
I'm gonna do a podcast. I'm gonna start a podcast thing because I did it once for a class and I'm like, it's pretty exciting. Let me try this out. And then I've never picked it up.
I
Yeah.
feel like I'm being called out because I have not kept up. Like obviously King's Chaos, my show used to be pre-recorded.
Mm.
And so I would just have to edit it for radio. But now that it's live, I have all the files,
Mhm.
none of which have been edited since, the start of the semester in September. And, I'm a bit behind on like putting them out onto
Mm.
not live radio. So oops. But
Get an editor.
I can't think of anything I bought that I regret. Well, okay. Some of the things that I bought that I needed, I do regret buying because I hate them. So I had to take a 2D animation class last year, or last semester, I should say. And we had to use the program Toon Boom. Toon Boom is not a free program, as most art programs are not.
Mm.
So I had to buy it for my home computer. And obviously it came in handy because, I had to do the class assignments. But here's the thing. I don't like 2D animation. I don't
Mm.
like 2D cell animation, the whole drawing frame by frame stuff.
Yeah.
I'm more particular to 3D motion graphics. So like Maya, Blender, Zebra, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I kind of regret it. I needed it, unfortunately, but I do regret having to use it ever.
Mm.
So other than that, I really didn't buy much. Maybe like a meal 1 or 2 days that like was too much. Like I wasn't as
Oh,
hungry as I thought.
That's
and
always sad,
bought a
right?
meal.
When you
I-
buy some, I actually did that last night
Oh.
before Kenny's show. I like got like chicken fingers from Red Hawk Diner,
Oh.
and that was the first time. And I was like, wow, I don't want this at all. Like, I don't know, why did I do this?
All right. Well, moving on to our next story. Clearly, we don't have too much buyer's remorse in this room,
Yeah.
but moving on. And I'm going to say this next line. I say it completely as a joke. I've seen a lot of his movies and I enjoy some. But according to news.sky.com, in an M. Night Shyamalan type plot twist, that is to say, not a very good one, a family dog turns out not to be a dog at all. Instead, their pet is a fox. And of course, that was the joke. I have nothing against M. Night Shyamalan. Moving on to the story, Maribel Soleto bought a new pup from a small shop in central Lima, Peru, believing it was a young dog. The animal, which they named Run Run, initially played happily with the other pet dogs in the neighborhood. But as it grew up, signs emerged that Run Run wasn't an average friendly dog. Run Run showed a real passion for chasing and hunting ducks and chickens, which sparked anger from the neighbors. In a shocking fashion, Run Run turned out to be an Andinian fox, which has thin legs, a bushy tail, and pointed nose and prominent ears. Run Run ran away from home a few days ago, and ecological police and officials of the state National Forest and Wildlife Service are now looking for him to take him to a special center or zoo. Mrs. Soleto stated, quote, we had thought it was a purebred puppy, end quote, when she said her son bought the pet for the equivalent of $13 about 6 months ago. Walter Silva, a veterinarian and wildlife specialist for SERFOR, SERFOR, shared that wild animals are brought by traffickers by Amazonian areas such as Loreto, Ucayali, and Madre de Dios to be illegally traded in Lima. The illegal trade in animals can lead to a prison sentence of between 3 and 5 years in prison in Peru. Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never owned a pet before. Like no dog, no cat.
Wow,
no
really?
nothing.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I would love to own a cat, or actually, I've also wanted to own a bat and a ferret. So maybe I shouldn't be trusted with animals.
I've had too many pets.
Really? But I can't imagine the shock of being like, hey, we have a dog. Just kidding, it's a fox.
Just like, wait a minute, something's not right.
Hold
That's
up.
weird. But I don't know. Have any of you ever seen foxes? Because
Yeah, I don't
They're
know.
kinda cute.
My
No,
dad has
foxes
a
are
funny
adorable.
story.
My dog kind of looks like a fox. If you,
Well, maybe he is.
yeah.
According to this story. Sorry, what were you saying, Campbell?
My dad had a funny story years ago of a fox sighting in Maryland with my uncle. So I believe him and my uncle woke up in the middle of the night, I think, in his house, in my uncle's house in Maryland, and they saw a fox outside their door window. So outside the door window, and like, because my uncle lives near like a little bay area, so
Right.
like near the water. So, but it's crazy. But I want to know if the fox said anything.
What did the fox say?
Mm,
I'm done. I quit.
what year
quit.
was that from?
2012, I believe.
2013.
Wow.
Jeez, yeah, 2013 sounds right. What a time to be alive.
Almost
I remember it
9
was in the
years,
YouTube
9,
Rewind.
10 years
Yeah,
old, whatever.
no,
That-
that's what I
that's
remember
like
it from.
the random facts that I have
Bye.
concealed in the back of my
Goodbye.
head.
Yeah, this is
And then there goes Kyle.
yeah.
No, I gotta be here. I don't trust any of you to run the board. No hard feelings.
Wow. Okay.
Nah, I'm kidding. But yeah, wow, you are hitting us with all the old school references today, Campbell.
Very.
But wow, I mean, how do you do that? How do you mistake a fox a dog for a fox? I'm no animal expert, so it might be very easy.
I feel
Actually,
Well, would a fox be considered like?
I don't know what they fall under, what species. Yeah.
I feel like some young fox or even young wolves, like when they're pretty, like when they're pups, you can easily confuse them for
Yeah.
a dog.
No,
sometimes.
and like
Yeah.
not all of them
Actually-
have that distinctive color.
Yeah, I'm looking at an Adenian fox right now. It looks like a dog.
Especially if you're thinking like a corgi, like I don't know, type of dog.
I wouldn't say they look like a corgi.
I don't know. I'm thinking of my dog. That's like a corgi Shiba Inu mix.
Yeah.
And it's not exactly like this, but
You
it
have a
definitely
mean
has
dog?
similar traits, especially like this. Like, yeah.
I wonder if foxes fall into the same biological, like canines, like for dogs, and that, like, I don't know.
We're just going back to 8th grade biology today.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we did talk about it earlier.
Yes,
with
a
the-
fox is a canine.
Oh, it is. So, well, I
So
stand
technically
corrected.
foxes are dogs.
Yeah, it could easily be mistaken as a domestic dog. So, There we go. Especially if they bought it as a pup, it'd
Yeah.
probably be harder to tell. But wow, I didn't know that. So that's interesting. And speaking of more animal related news, Jake, take us away with the PETA story.
Oh yes. So Peter has some beef with I feel like Peter would object to the use of the term beef.
I mean, if you read this next story, they probably
with
will soon enough.
Major League Baseball. What's Major League Baseball up to? That's got PETA upset. Okay. PETA has called for Major League Baseball to stop using the term arm barn instead of bullpen, which the animal rights group says mocks the misery of sensitive animals. The area where relief pitchers warm up before entering a game is known as the bullpen, but PETA said the term also refers to the holding area where terrified bulls are kept before slaughter. In a statement from PETA, they had this to say: "Words matter, and baseball's bullpens devalue talented players and mock the misery of sensitive animals." PETA is encouraging Major League Baseball coaches and not just players and fans to change up their language and embrace the arm barn instead. PETA will have to wait until next year to see if the MLB is willing to change the name of the bullpen. Aw, that's kind of sweet.
Yeah, I don't know. I was always under the impression that like
Can I explain my displeasure?
Yes, actually, yes. Go ahead, Campbell. You're
Because I'm the
sportscaster.
sports person
Yes.
in this.
Resident sports person in this room. Go ahead.
The America's national pastime, aka Major League Baseball, is over 120 years, or I should say over 150 years old.
Really?
PETA was founded in 1980, which would technically be 120 years difference.
Yeah.
The term bullpen has been used for over a century. And to talk about it now, like for them to like to say that they want them to change the meaning of the word bullpen, it's just absurd. It's absurd in my point.
They ran out of things to complain about, I guess.
I don't know. I think it's those poor bulls,
Yes, but I'm under the impression that words only have as much power as we give them. So I really don't think this is going to change anything. I mean, it feels like they're avoiding the issue here, because if they're advocating for the misery of sensitive animals, why not go after bullpens themselves instead of a sports organization that's just using the word? Like, it feels like, hey, this house is on fire. So I'm going to give a horrible example here, but it's like there's a house on fire, and instead they're yelling at a fire hydrant for not doing its job. It's a horrible example. It's in fact disregarded. It means nothing. That was horrible. Point being, if they're trying to go after, the sensitive animals, why not focus on, a bullpen itself, other than just like,
the problem is, and that's why you see a lot of this is a thing with not just PETA, but like a lot of progressive causes, is that like a lot of these things, it's like, okay, why don't you stop bulls from being slaughtered? Well, it's a whole thing. You're talking about dismantling. Actually, I don't even know who does that to bulls, but you're talking about dismantling an entire industry. It's a whole like essentially utopian project. So it's less about actually changing anything and kind of shifting the language just to be, I guess, more sensitive to the inhumanity of the situation we're stuck with.
Like, can I say something?
Go ahead.
Like,
you don't need to ask permission. This is a talk show. You're allowed to talk.
I can't. My brain's like,
I know,
thinking right now. But my apologies. But
no, you're good.
I just, that phrase has been so coined for over a century and a half.
Yeah.
And look, if just focus on like getting safety for the animals and not be so worried about a phrase that they really think that would provide harm to an animal such as a bull, because I mean it's just a phrase that athletes use, pitchers use, of course people in the game of baseball use. They've used it many times. There's so much social media backlash from what PETA has said
in the past,
and when this article or whatever this statement came out, and people were very upset about it because like I get it's a phrase, but it's a part of the sport of baseball that has been coincided with America's history
Very
as
true.
a whole.
Yeah.
Because it's our sport.
Yeah, I gotta
Baseball's our
say,
thing.
I do agree with the point Isaiah's pointing out. History means nothing to me. I do not care if it's been around for super long. Like,
That is true.
I
A
don't
lot
think
of-
that matters at all. But like, also, I don't care about
Also,
this.
you can't say
Like
Okay.
Generally, like I don't.
Wow, way to
like,
be blunt.
Like I like yeah, like generally I don't care. But like, yeah, this
No, I
arm
get it.
barn, call it arm barn, call it
I
bullpen.
will say arm barn's not a bad substitute.
Yeah, no, arm barn's fine.
It's not like they said no bullpen, instead use army warmy practice range or whatever. It's not a bad substitute. I'll give them effort for putting that in. But like this goes back, I was gonna bring up the I don't know how well this phrase is still used, Campbell. Maybe you can tell me.
Yes.
But the pigskin is used for
Yes.
Yeah.
football. Is that a thing still people
That's-
say?
people use relatively don't really say pigskin anymore.
Yeah,
but
I
they
figured.
really there's all players who play probably like people now like who played in the 60s and 70s
Yeah.
Mm.
or 50s will still say pigskin. Even like coaches nowadays who played in like the early 70s or 80s will still say it.
Yeah.
And, like, I mean, people
So-
have not had a problem
Not yet.
saying that
Anyway.
word.
Now that we said it, it's probably going to see an article
I-
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because if
Mm.
they go after one sport, they kind of have to go after all of them.
Yeah.
Well, I
and-
think pigskin has already been kind of phased out.
That is true.
Probably
It's-
just because it's really gross.
Mhm.
that's fair.
Yeah.
It's not something
anyway,
we
I,
want to
I
think
think
about.
we should abolish football. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just get rid of.
I mean,
I'm
entirely.
sitting, I'm sitting right here.
I mean, I'm not one to disagree. I'm not particular. I don't know too much about sports, but just to like abolish it.
yeah,
Like, wow.
no, stop playing it.
Okay. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. I don't know why your opinion is so drastic, but
Yeah, I don't
go
know.
ahead.
Just stop it. You know.
Okay. Sorry, Campbell. It looks like you're out of a job.
Guess I can walk out like you almost did today.
Do you
Just
know how
walk
many
away.
times I've made that I'm leaving the station joke in the middle of
All
the
right,
show?
we're going.
I'm
I'm gonna be. I'm changing my major to PR.
Instead of getting fired, you just like I just quit.
Yeah, Kenny's thing is you're fired. My thing is I quit.
I've been fired 4 times now.
Really?
Kai,
Oh,
how
man.
many times have you quit?
Have I quit in the past 3 weeks? I'd say maybe 3 times. I feel like I quit like
Oh wait.
twice in a day.
Oh, God.
I mean,
Wow.
it's kind of fun. I like the running joke of just like, okay, you said something so ridiculously stupid that I have to leave. But you know, that's just me. But anyway, you guys want to talk about more movies?
Yeah.
All right.
Man,
cool.
I missed the Marvel speculation about
Oh
Eternals.
no.
Not Marvel this time, but close with Disney.
Ooh,
Oh,
Yep.
okay,
According to Routers.com, production of Disney's upcoming Star Wars movie has been delayed. The production of Disney's next Star Wars film, called Star Wars: Rogue Squadron, has been delayed because director Patty Jenkins' commitment to other projects, although it is still scheduled to release in December of 2023. Jenkins, who previously worked on 2 Wonder Woman films and is working on a 3rd superhero film and a film about Cleopatra, has a booked schedule and is unable to cooperate with the schedule for this new Star Wars film. While filmmakers hope the production process will be finished next year in 2022, Jenkins' current schedule makes that impossible. In the meantime, Disney has other Star Wars films in the works, including one worked on by Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige. So you were right, Marvel's coming back, but I don't know. I'm just kind of done with Marvel and
Yeah.
no, I'm sorry, not Marvel. Well, yes, I am, but Disney and Star Wars.
Oh,
It's-
totally. It's kind of funny to me. They don't know what they're doing with Star
No.
Wars,
which
They
is
really don't.
weird because they can do, or they used to be able to do Marvel really well, and they just couldn't. Okay, so like now Marvel is like they're hitting the ball with the bat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It used to be every Marvel movie was a grand slam or whatever. With Star Wars, they can't even swing it on time.
Nope.
Like I said earlier,
except Mandalorian. I'll give Mandalorian credit.
yeah, they've been pretty strong with their series, like with Mandalorian.
Yeah. So why
the
can't they do
Boba
it
Fett
with movies?
series. It's weird that the thing is, ever since Disney Plus started, they've been really focused on these TV series because they know specifically, I mean, like during the pandemic, people are always obsessed with TV shows and series.
Yep.
And they're like,
Binge
you know what,
watching.
we need to jump on that. Like, yeah, these movies are what like everyone says they used to be. You don't get excited for them anymore.
No.
But when there's like a short TV series, 8 episodes, 10 episodes, you get pretty hyped for those.
Yeah, especially when
personally,
you
I
watch them in
love
like an hour.
Yeah, I actually love The Mandalorian both seasons.
I
enjoyed
did
it.
not finish season 2 because I'm really bad at keeping up with TV
What?
shows.
Kyle, you have to.
No.
I have a question to ask all you. Was there any TV shows that you watched during the pandemic? Like probably like streaming wise, Netflix, Disney Plus, or like any favorites that you had?
I don't know if any of them are mainstream. Okay, so let's go. So I haven't seen Squid Game, Tiger King, all of Mandalorian, all of Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I mean, all of Loki, all of What If. These are all the things I haven't watched. So I'm not good with like anything that came out recently, but if you will allow me to answer with a previous series, let's see. Over the pandemic, I watched Death Note, which I really loved.
Death Note's great.
Yes, it was such a great show. Future Dark. No, that might have been more.
It's okay. It's an okay series.
It's okay,
It's
but
not the
I
best.
would. And that was more over this summer, so I wouldn't exactly call that pandemic. But my top one would probably be Death Note. I'll go with that. Expanding Campbell's question to the rest of you.
Ooh.
Campbell, rephrase your question, please.
So, was there any show during the pandemic, or
Yes.
maybe like during the summer of the pandemic, or actually also the following year that you watched like constantly on a basis and get to finish?
Oh man, yeah. Adventure Time was a big one. Gilmore Girls was a big one. I really liked
the
Gilmore
original
Girls.
one?
Adventure Time?
No,
Yeah.
no, Gilmore Girls.
Yeah,
There's
the
only-
original
there's only-
Gilmore
okay.
Girls. Oh yes, no, there was a new series, but I didn't get a chance to see that one yet. I actually haven't finished season 7 because it's bad. But no, the first 4 seasons of Gilmore Girls are phenomenal. Everyone should watch that.
If
Also,
they're
like,
interested.
I'm trying to think with my shows. There's only like 4 shows I actually watched, like 3 seasons. I watched Glee because
Nice.
I loved it. I watched One Tree Hill.
Well,
Okay.
Then I got to watch the whole 6 seasons of The Sopranos.
oh man, I really need to do that.
And then I binged watched the first 2 seasons of Outer Banks in 3 days.
Wow.
Wow.
So it was pretty interesting.
I had an interesting list. I had Mandalorian. I had the big Marvel, Loki, WandaVision, and what's the third one? I'm already forgetting it. Oh, Falcon and Winter Soldier. But the one that really got to me, Steven Universe, is Steven Universe Future.
I started that.
I saw
Yeah.
everyone was like, you should watch the show. I'm like, you know what? I have the time. It's the pandemic. I don't have anywhere else to go.
I
So
wish I was like
I
that.
I loved it. I love that series. It's amazing.
I'll throw in WandaVision. That too was one of my favorite. I don't know.
Mm.
The
Ooh.
end of WandaVision, I was kind of disappointed about, but
Honestly,
everything
same.
leading up to it, every week I was like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen next?
Mhm.
And then it all kind of came to it's like the sparkler was lit or the firework was lit. And then just the end was a dud.
They just
It
fit
never
too
went
much
off.
into
Mm.
one episode. I think they could have waited a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree on that.
It's
and then,
Marvel's thing, rushing everything together.
yeah, DC's
Yeah.
thing too,
Yeah.
rushing everything.
And then Isaiah also has Money Heist in Atlanta on here. I saw some of Atlanta. Atlanta's really sick.
I don't think I've seen either of those or
And
even heard of them.
Superstore.
I've definitely heard of Money Heist,
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm just not really good at keeping up with shows.
Yeah, no,
I'll,
it's
I'll
hard.
be honest.
I feel like I'm a
bad at that.
television major, so I kind of have to some
Yeah.
extent, you know.
I'm an animation major,
Yeah.
and I do lean strongly more towards cartoons, or at least I
Yeah.
did. I do lean a lot toward. Well, no, I still do. I lean a lot toward anime and special effects heavy
Mhm.
stuff, as I probably am obligated to. But just overall, I'm not good at keeping up with media.
My-
I'm sorry.
My father and brother both watched Squid Game, and
Ah.
they said that was so weird and just like so like crazy.
Yeah, I can
Squid
imagine.
Game is really dark. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of
Mhm.
crazy to think that
I
it's
saw the
like,
trailer.
I
and
don't know.
When I first saw the trailer, I'm like, oh, this is coming out soon. And then it came out. I'm like, okay,
Like it's almost like I get a little uncomfortable, honestly, when I see people wearing like merch of it, or like, there's the whole thing of Mr. Beast making like a real life.
He did?
Yeah, no, he's
Oh,
actually making it, and they're gonna do
no.
a thing, and it's like, dude,
I just
did
saw
you
it.
not watch the show? Like,
Well, this is what
this
I
is not a
keep
cool
saying.
thing.
This is what I keep saying. I now, granted, I've been guilty of this in the past, but I don't get the whole. We love this stuff so much. Let's make it surround every part of our culture for the next 3 months.
I mean,
I don't
yeah.
get it. Do you know how many times I've seen that? I don't know. What is it? A cookie?
Yeah, the cookie. I
thing
forget
on
what
social
they call
media.
it.
I forget how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's just. And
Like-
yes, my sister called me out on this. She's like, Kyle, you used to have a Harry Potter cover
Okay.
for your laptop. I'm like, yes, I know. And yes, I'm still kind of like
But it's
that.
also kind of odd because Harry Potter is a very escapist kind of world,
Oh, yeah, I see what
fiction
you're
world,
saying. This is like
Squid
a
Game is
metaphor.
a terrifying dystopia,
Yeah.
That's like, there's not a lot of like joy in it. Like even in something like
Right.
The Hunger Games, it's like, okay, well, it's a dystopia, but there's
It's a good story to it, at least.
Yeah,
the first two
well,
books.
not that there's not a good story to Squid Game.
Well,
but
yeah. that was a
there's
better way
some
of me saying it.
heroism in it,
Right.
but Squid Game is not a very heroic story. It's more about, I don't know, it's
Survival of the fittest.
not even
Not even
that.
that.
It's just kind of, I don't. It's a very dark show, and it's not
Yeah.
really a universe you want to like.
Live in.
It's weird. My
Yeah.
recent obsession is this is gonna be really weird.
Okay, go
My
for it.
recent obsession is Full House. I don't know why. I just started watching Full House out of nowhere.
When I was little, I'll make this quick. You would go on Nick at Night
Mhm.
on TV.
Mhm.
You'd watch Full House, Family Matters, George Lopez.
Oh, George Lopez.
It was just the best time.
As a Mexican American, I did enjoy watching George Lopez at 6 a.m. before I got ready for high school.
All I
that was-
remember
it
is
was
just
awesome.
that theme song playing at 6 a.m.
Mhm.
I don't remember. I don't know if I've ever watched an episode after that. I just remembered the theme song. Like that is ingrained in my head.
You just have that theme song, just like George Lopez. Haven't seen it, but George Lopez.
Now. Yep. But that is going to bring us to the end of another edition of the Morning Buzz, which today is Tuesday, November 9th, 2021 of the fall season. I think I got it.
Nice.
Nice.
I am your host,
Correct.
Kyle Pepitone, joined with my co-host, Jacob Goetz, our sportscaster, Campbell Donovan, and our newscaster, Madi Zuniga.
Yay.
Thank you all for joining me today. And everybody have a great day and stay tuned in for tomorrow, where there will be more Morning Buzz with different people and different stories. Have a good day, everybody. And don't forget, King's Chaos is up next if you are so interested to tune in. Goodbye.